Hey guys, how's it going? I know it's been a while since I made an update video. I see some comments about what's happening. You haven't made an update. How's your position doing? Um, good. I'll get right into it so you guys can see. You guys know I've been pretty transparent in the past, but good. The market's been kind of weird lately. Some stuff's going up, crypto's going down. I've shifted my positions anyway, but the last update I did was looks like July in 2025. So, sometimes in the market can be lazy. I was kind of lazy. I had some real life things going on, so I didn't make an update for a while. But here we are, and it's February 12th today. I did this spreadsheet on the 9th as an update, just kind of show you guys where we are. Where portfolio's up 45,000. Uh, Even with everything else that's been going on, which is crazy because I made some trades, got out of some stuff, dropped some of the YieldMax funds, and went into some of the Neos funds, added to my Bitcoin position, a bunch of wild things, but I'll go over it and tell you kind of where some of my thoughts are. And as always, not financial advice. And before we get into this, I do want to show you something that we'll be using through this. This is a new tool that I've been using dashboards like Snowball Analytics and other stuff, Dividend Tracker, and I just decided, why not build my own version of this? I am a software developer by trade, so I actually wanted to share this with the small YouTube community I have here first, and you guys are welcome to come in. There's a free version and there's a small paid version if you uh, it's $9.99 if you want to use the automatic brokerage sync. It works with a bunch of popular exchanges, Robinhood, you know, most of the popular brokerages it works with. There's also some pretty cool free tools on here. I'm not going to get into all of it, but there's a bunch of free tools if you want to check it out. And then for the dashboard, you can enter all your tickers manually, and there's a holding section. We're gonna get into all this in the video and why this is kind of special because I have added settings that I wanted that none of these other things had, like drip. So say if I want to drip 100% of the dividends of this stock and I invest this much into it monthly, I can set that. But say BTCI, which is a newer position here, and you can see if you hover over the total return, the dividends you've received, the IRR. I only want to drip 10% of this, and I'm not invested in this monthly. It's kind of stuff like that. And then what happens with all these settings as you go through here, and you can see some where I'm investing some of the monthly. What happens is it kind of gives you projections in real time based off of what your portfolio and your drip rates are. And then down here, if you are collecting and not dripping, it kind of shows you what your projected monthly is based off of all those settings. So it adapts, straight out into time. And we got some other settings here, like your previous dividends that have paid in different months, and I don't know, lots of stuff. So I'm excited. There's a link down below for this, and we'll kind of keep going into the video now. So we've had some good payments this month. You can see coming in here what's paid, what's not. The BTCI is my biggest payer month over month now, I'm pretty sure. SCHD is kind of par to par with it, but that's quarterly, right? And then we have the JEPI and JEPQ that are doing good. And yeah, we'll just go into the holdings so you guys can see what is like changed just since we made this last video. The balance changed, but we kind of slimmed down my positions. For a while I was in Polaris. You guys probably know that. I bought that at a low, and I just sold out of that. And then Bitcoin's been down, so I transferred that into BTCI and IBIT. So BTCI is the yield version of this. So I'll put IBIT up to the side with it so you can see. It basically moves similar to it. It's performing a little better. This chart doesn't show total return. I mean to click this so you can see the total return. But with the dividends, I think this is probably right on par with it. So with the price drop, you can see the dividends have dropped a little bit. The CAGR, because it's kind of newer, is not up there yet, but this is kind of something that I'm comfortable holding longer term and using for income generators. So yeah, you can see it. Sorry, going back to this. I have a rather big position in this now. So 178, I'm down. Jeez. I get with dividends 28%. So not from a Bitcoin perspective, not terrible, because you can see my Bitcoin position is actually also down 29%. And I think this recent pullback has been pretty aggressive. So yeah. I also added some stretch, which is doing good. So this is pretty basic. If you think MSTR is okay and you believe in Bitcoin long term, this is a yield mechanism. I put 50,000 into this. It's worth a little bit more of that. The real trick to this is, of course, do your own research and stuff, but is to buy when it's below $1. Pretty easy. It's kind of like a stable coin, and when the market gets, it's kind of like a supply and demand mechanic. I won't go into that. You can leave it for another video, but other than that, I added to my Bitcoin position a little bit. Yeah. Looks like I have about 1 Bitcoin worth of Bitcoin in IBIT, which is cool, and more than that in here. So pretty much done adding the Bitcoin, besides the dollar cost averaging I'm doing every week. So I buy a little bit every week. I'll be adding to this BTCI. Maybe I'll add a little more to this, but I mean, I'm at 10% exposure, or 8% with this, and with the IBIT, another 5. So I'm at like almost 14-15% Bitcoin exposure, which is pretty good. And where I want to be, this might take a while to recover because the CAGR on Bitcoin is about 20. So I mean, maybe it pops back up. I don't know. I think it's pretty depressed right now, and in a value area to pick up. So I thought that from 100,000. So you can never say that. It can always go lower. You never know, predictions, stuff like that. That's why long term you just add when you think things are a value. And you can see overall it's been pretty good. Stocks are doing better. SCHD had a rough patch. People were giving up on it. It kind of seemed, but I mean, holding this has been really sweet. You can see we've collected $17,000 in dividends. The IRR is 29, and we've had over $100,000 in total return. This has always kind of been the centerpiece of our portfolio, and will continue to do so. And you can see I still add a little bit to there, but I'm adding the most to VOO and a little bit to JEPQ, just because when you look at the IR, this is like a good thing to see. From my perspective, for a yield pair, you see, a 33% IRR. That's pretty good. I'm getting 12% yield on cost, similar to stretch. Nothing else in here is really doing that besides the BTCI, but look at the difference here. The yield on cost is way below the yield listed here. So it's kind of the opposite thing here. It's like this is going down. This is going to be so dependent on Bitcoin though, so I'm not overthinking that and just adding right now. Some small positions down here. These are nothing, you know what I mean? Just kind of things. I started getting into this, and then gold just went on a run. I was like, I'm not going to add to that anymore. And I mean, it's done really well, but such a small amount. But I mean, you can see the total returns on that are pretty ridiculous. And I also picked up this. This is a smaller trade that I did. I should have went more. I kind of just liked how it looked. What happens if I open up a new window in this? Open up. Okay, yeah. I like this. When I was looking at the data on this, I picked it up probably down here someplace. I don't remember exactly where. But it just was a value, and I liked the lumber play for a short term, and the payout ratio is kind of high, so I don't expect to like hold this long. Here's another cool thing you can see. The earnings were kind of down, and it just seemed like a good thing. You can see insider activity on this too. There's a lot of data this site has that I like now. But yeah, besides that, yeah, you can see that my core holdings and my positions haven't changed. They're all sitting around the same percentage. These are just kind of fun positions down here, right? So, but up here in the core positions, they haven't changed much, and that's good. So I've learned over time, you know what I mean? As I go through this, I learn, you change your mind. Something changes your thesis or makes you want to go Bitcoin dumps and you're like, I want to be more exposed to that. Um, Going into some of the YieldMax stuff we were having them, and in my previous videos I held stuff and then it was like break even, or they it was weird with them because they had high yields and then it was more of like it looked like you were getting high yields but you're breaking even, making all this income, but the price of the share was going down so much that it was just kind of like a wash. Maybe you made a little profit or it was a wash. So I'm being a lot more conservative and careful about stuff I get into like that. Like these things were kind of my practice or my experiments, because I was like, these things look, just because they're in such a bullish move, they look like they're good. And actually Palantir, if you look at it, the price went down a ton. So it's kind of in the same boat. The IR is negative now, but the dividends received were so good based off of what we put into it. The total return is still positive, but your share price has dipped a lot, but it's still up 53%. So if that happens, it's good. But if you guys remember, like looking at Tesla and some of that stuff, it just kind of got spooked out of those. Neos, I got a better vibe about just kind of the way they're doing their strategy overall. And I feel more comfortable sitting in that long term. Even if it underperforms IBIT, which I know it will, especially if Bitcoin goes on a monster tear of a run, because you just won't be able to capture upside. They do allow you to capture more, so it kind of keeps up and slightly underperforms in a bull market. But in this market, it should outperform in a down sideways market. It should outperform and like kind of keep you balanced. And because we don't care, well, myself, I don't care about the price now as much of this. Like I'm willing to hold this for a long time. I don't care as much because I just want to collect the dividends. So that's what these covered call funds are good for. But it has to be an asset that you really believe in long term, going up. Um, yeah. The chart is, I don't know. So yeah, the chart still needs some work, I think, because when you're syncing a brokerage, kind of does some wonky stuff. But yeah, this is the app we made. I'll put the link down below. I made a Discord for this too, so if anyone wants to come in and chat, happy to chat with you. And I mean, my whole point is this is kind of whatever community members want to try it out and come in and give me feedback. I would love that so we can make it better and add features that you might want to see particularly, that is not featured anywhere. I can build them for you. So yeah, enjoy. Leave me the comments and we'll see you in the Discord, and have a good one.